Farmer Herald that there's a shortage of truckers.
Ready? Ready?
They, there was an article in the Farmer Herald today, there's a shortage of truckers for handling vegetables and so forth in the market. So you better get off your butt.
That's right. Are we ready? Testing. All right, this time I'm going to call this meeting to order. How is everybody? I think that we are,
Bobby gonna be here tonight?
he is, I'll let Doug come to,
Is he gonna?
Bobby's staff left him high and dry this afternoon, so he's having to feed up to see.
yes, ma'am. Now, let me get dialed in there.
You got it?
The number you have dialed is not in service. Please phone this number and try your call again.
1-844-890-7777.
Start meeting. Share better. Please enter your
390-30313. Are we on? All right.
Welcome to the Prince Edward County Conference Line. Please stand by. You'll be joined in shortly.
All right. We've already called this meeting. I'm going to give the invocation, the pledge of allegiance, and we'll go from there. Lord, we thank you and praise you for this day and just for this time and for this meeting, for the group that has assembled themselves here this evening. We ask that you would be with us, that you would give us the wisdom that we need to run this county in the way that it should be. We ask that you be with each and every one as they're here and as they return back home, and we'll thank you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Ask you to stand and give a pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Probably gonna be on remote. Are there any conflict of interest from anyone on the board tonight that you know of? If not, public participation. Who do we have? We have Cornell Walker. Mr. Walker.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Board of Supervisors, my name is Cornell Walker from the Prospect District, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the Murray Branch Community Center. I think you have a letter from us in your packet, and we're asking the board for their support, verbal support. We're not asking for finances, not yet.
Appreciate
I
your
think
candor.
The letter that you have shows a little bit of the history of the Murray Branch Community Center. We have reorganized. This is not the Murray Branch Community Center of the past. That building has been vacant for a few years, and it is in pretty bad disrepair. The reorganization group want to go ahead, refinish, refurbish it, so that we can get back to the business of our youth having a place to go after school during the summer, where they can enjoy themselves and stay out of trouble. We have gotten some support. The Virginia Preservation has listed the school on their list of endangered schools, so we can get verbal support from them. I think we are in phase 3 of getting it stated as a National Historic Place. We also have a business plan in which this place will be run as an entity which can take care of itself. Not saying we're gonna turn down donations, but once it is up and running, and we don't have a date yet because we are just starting, and our first step is to get a grant to find out exactly what it's gonna cost to repair that building. We also have verbal help on that so far. They're writing the grant for us, getting a $25,000 grant to see what it would cost to repair. Tonight, I am asking the Board of Supervisors if we could get a letter of support from you all for redoing, rehabbing that building so that it can become a community center. As I say, we're not asking for financial support, just a letter of support that we can add to what we apply for in grants. We've also asked the town of Farmville to give us a letter of support. That will count a long way in getting the grants if we have support of the county and the town to be able to get that grant. We know that this is a long overdue project, and we appreciate your support and hope that you will give us a letter of support. Thank you.
One other question, and this is early on, because I know you're just in early stages. One of the big needs with the school system is prior to the third grade and so forth, teaching kids to read. Is this something that could be maybe done in that area? Either in a summer program or something?
Well, that's part, what we envision as part of the recreation center, a place for kids in the summertime, after school, and weekends.
Well, if it's appropriate at this point, I'd like to move that we give them a letter of support.
There's been a motion made. Is there a second to this?
I'll second.
There's been a motion that's been properly made and seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
So move then.
Mr. Walker, is there a deadline that you have, Mr. Walker, to get the letter? I want to make sure I meet your deadline, so just let me know when you need it, okay?
As soon as you can get it to us.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cornell.
Thank you.
This time Bruce Davis.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, and Mr. Stanley. My name is Bruce Davis. I live at 840 Buffalo Street, Farmville District 7, with my wife, Susan Sullivan, along with my two dogs. I've lived in Prince Edward and the town of Farmville for 22 years. Some of you know me through Prince Edward Youth Association, United Way, and some other volunteer organizations that I've been part of. But tonight, I'm here first as a citizen of Prince Edward County, but also as an employee of Prince Edward County Schools for the last 14 years. I was upset after hearing of the thoughts of Dr. Johnson, school board members, and the system as a whole. But more, the articles and opinions featured in the Farmville Herald left me utterly deflated. My question to you, and please don't answer where you were before, during, or after the pandemic, and where you'll be in the future. There's a lot of staff, teachers, administrators, school board office staff, students, parents, and community members gave a lot of time and energy to keep things running before and since March 2020. The pandemic changed us all personally, some of us who got COVID, and the energy it kept things going, running. The pandemic changed us personally, but it also changed how we fed, taught, communicated, and operated each and every day. There were days and nights that we wanted to give up, but we knew that the children of Prince Edward County were counting on us. It was all new to us, thousands of other educators across the state of Virginia. I believe we did a damn good job. Where's the article of praise? The school system have state and national regulations to follow, so sometimes what we see is best for a student can't always be used. State and national testing seems more important sometimes than getting a student ready for college or everyday life. That is no fault of the system. Teachers are with students for short time during the day, so sometimes education needs to be done at home. Before a child plays sports, video games, or watches TV, they need to finish schoolwork. It's hard for a single parent working 2 jobs to help, so where can we go for tutoring and guidance? Do we have a boys club? Do we have a community center or other programs? Have you ever walked the hallways of the school? Have you ever ate lunch with a staff member or a student? Have you ever sat in on a class? Have you ever come to the school board meeting, town meeting, or even hosted a meeting in your district? Have you volunteered to hand out school supplies or food at the school market or distribution center during the pandemic? Rome wasn't built in a day, and no matter what people believe, it does take a village to raise a child. What this board, along with others, need more of a picture. Participation, action, and taking part in something. Involvement, continuing to participate in something. Collaboration, action of working with someone to produce or create something. Team, group of people perform tasks to work towards accomplishing a common mission. Unity, state of being united and joining as a whole. Respect, accepting somebody for who they are, even when they're different from you and don't agree. Excitement is feeling or a situation full of joy. This is a lot more, there's a lot more I could talk about, and I'm sure I'll be back to talk more about it. But the last thing I have to say is, I want you to be a leader, and leadership is ability to an individual or group of individuals to influence or guide a group. I will also let you know that I am exploring the opportunity of running for District 7 as a write-in for November 3rd, 2021 election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. We appreciate that. There have been 2 that were signed up. Is there anyone else to speak? Public participation. All right, at that time, we're going to close that section, and it's up to the Board of Supervisors' comments. Ms. Pride.
I would like to say good evening to everyone. I want to give kudos out to Mr. Walker for that major initiative that he's about to continue. Mr. Wilk, I thank you for your question relevant to the reading. I know that if this initiative comes to fruition, that will take place. It took place previously, and that's part of the purpose of this great initiative. Thank you so much. And again, welcome to everybody in attendance and to those who are listening.
I'd just like to say thank you for those that are here this evening. Appreciate the public participation from each and every one. Whether you agree or disagree with us, we always welcome the comments. That's part of the process. It's definitely part of our government. Thank you all for being here. Those that are online also. It's up to you, Ms. Patty.
I'd like to say good evening to everyone. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Walker, we appreciate what you're doing for the Murray Branch Community Center. Look forward to working with you. And to Mr. Bruce, we appreciate your comments as well. This is citizen participation, and it is indeed important for citizens to speak out. Thank you.
Beverly?
I would just like to say welcome. It's good to see some familiar faces again, and just glad we all can be together this evening. Thank you.
Jim?
I just like to thank Cornell for coming back and getting more involved again. He's more needed. I'll call you. You do. Because I called you several times.
Jerry?
Thank everyone for being here, and also Mr. Davis, appreciate your voice. Also, Mr. Walker, look forward to something very outstanding occurring with Murray Branch. Been a long time overdue.
Lou?
Glad to hear from you all tonight, both of you. I'm glad to hear it. I hope it'll progress well. I would take another moment. I gave Doug and his staff an invitation. I want to issue an invitation to all here and the board members on the 25th of July. The Darlington Heights Fire Department, we're having our 50th anniversary.
25th.
That's a Sunday afternoon. Be glad for y'all to come.
Thank you.
Chairman, may I add
Yes, ma'am.
one thing to my comments?
Absolutely.
Mr. Davis, I would like to thank you as well. As you are going over that list, you said how many of you have done this and that. I want to say that I've basically done all. You and I have worked together. I've had grandchildren throughout the system. I've been teacher, administrator. So all of those things that you said, I've done and will continue to do to work with the system. Thank you so much, Bruce.
Anything else from the board? If not, we're gonna go to the consent agenda. Is there anything that anyone would like to pull out, talk about? Something, and I have no idea where I was at this point.
I'd like to move approval if there's nothing else.
I second it.
There's been a motion made and properly seconded to approve it as presented. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
So moved on the consent agenda. Guess we're at appropriations. Do we have a vote? Let me get my time down. Guess we're going to like page 101, is that correct?
Yes, sir. First appropriation is a request, the Sheriff's Department received a donation amount of $900 for animal care. They're requesting these funds be appropriated into their animal care line.
So moved.
Second. Been a motion made and properly second. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
So moved.
Next is the county received a request from the Prince Edward County Public Schools requesting an appropriation of the No Kid Hungry grant funds, the amount of $50,000 to the food service budget.
That's a federal reimbursement?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Give me 1 second. All right, it's been a motion made and properly seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim? Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
Next is FY22 appropriations for the general registrar compensation. The Virginia Department of Elections sent notification to the FY22 authorized salaries for the general registrar and the local electoral board members for July 1 of 2021 through June 30 of 2022. The newly authorized salary reflects the changes made by the General Assembly and Governor to adjust general registrar salaries to equal the salaries for local treasurers as established under Item 74 of the 2021 Appropriation Act. This will increase the registrar's salary from $49,256 to $83,484, and the electoral board from $66.37 to $69.69. The cost, the total appropriation of $40,838 to the budget. Reimbursement percentage from the Department of Elections to be determined. The county was reimbursed approximately 70% during the last reimbursement period.
I make a motion, we approve the budget amendment and appropriate the same funds in fiscal year '22.
Second.
There's been a motion properly made and seconded for the registrar. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Ms. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
And I just tell that for Bobby Jones, because we weren't online yet, just so everyone knows.
Yes.
That's my fault, I'm sorry.
No, Supervisor Jones had something come up. He was unable to be at the meeting tonight, and had called me prior to the start.
Just want to let everyone that's listening in know that I overlooked that and skipped it, my fault.
Next appropriation is the fire program funds, or ATL. On June 24, 2021, the county received the initial deposit of the fire programs funds, or aid to localities, for for FY '21 in the amount of $57,744. Per board policy, it is recommended these funds be divided among the 4 volunteer fire departments located wholly within Prince Edward County and outside the town of Farmville, which includes Darlington Heights, Hampton Sydney, Prospect, and Rice. The budget amendment would give $14,436 to each of those 4 departments.
So moved.
Second.
There has been a motion made and properly second for the ATL. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Luke?
Being as I'm a member of Darlington Heights, I'll abstain on this one.
All right. So moved anyway. I guess while we're waiting on the time for the authorized public hearing, we're gonna go to Scott Frederick for the highway matter. Scott, the podium is yours.
Thank you, Chairman and Board. Thank you for having me tonight. Got a kind of a short update, but a good one nonetheless. I want to start off by thanking the county for all their efforts and also any constituents that may be doing it as volunteers through maybe the Adopt a Highway program. The litter is looking a lot better these days, and that's a large part of it. Thanks is y'all's. It's been a really good thing to see in the county. Lots of bags of trash have been picked up. Which leads me to my next topic is mowing. With all that trash out there, it makes it a little bit prettier when we get done mowing. So we started mowing 460 today. We have finished all of our 2-lane primaries for the second cutting of this year. We just recently finished up the first round of cutting on our secondaries, but we'll be starting back very shortly on those again as well. We're doing our secondary mowing with a contractor this year. That's freeing up our forces to catch up on some of the stuff that we got behind on with all that ice storm debris that we were dealing with. We've contracted the removal of the debris piles that are throughout the county and the ones in Charlotte County as well. But the contractors just started getting those up within the last couple of weeks. And the magic date for having those all totally removed and gone is August the 9th. That's when he has to be done by. Other than mowing, we have a boom axe and we've been running it every day, all day, trying to get some of the brush that's creeping out on our right of ways, trying to get that cut back to a proper distance. We also started using some of the county safety money like we talked about previously to widen the shoulders on 604, actually to widen the roadway itself, 2 feet on each side. We started on the Charlotte County side of that road, and we're working our way towards 15. We haven't made it very far. We've been hit by an unforeseen change in policy, and it may have affected the county as well, where our staff that work overtime up to this point were able to bank the hours they work as overtime leave and then take it off. But just recently there was a change where they could bank up to 60 hours and they were told that they either had to use it or lose it because of a policy change. And so we've had a large number of staff taking off a week and a half to not lose that time that they were able to benefit from. So it was a little bit unforeseen, but we're going to get through it. And we'll be back out on 604 widening as soon as we're through that little hiccup. We've been hand trimming with our pole saws and chainsaws, trying to get any tree limbs that are affecting like the school buses. We've been working with the bus garage to, whenever they let us know about one, we try to get out there as soon as possible. A lot of times same day, get those cut back, and then any other ones that get called in through our call center. We've just, within the last week, got our inmate crews back up and going. So we get a very good return on that effort. We get to use one of our guys to manage about 6 to 7 inmates to do a lot of the small labor work that we do. So that we are very happy that the pandemic has subsided and we're able to do that again. Right now, we're planning getting a contract in place to have a contractor that we can notify about trees that need to be removed, ones that are a little bit more, I'll say, tricky to get down. If it has power lines near it or if it leans out over the road, in a way would make it easier to limit out and get it down like a specialty crew would do. And we're hoping to have that totally in place and using it in September. But we were working ahead of time to identify trees and if it's not all the way on our right of way, get a landowner agreement on the ones that would require that. So just wanted to let you guys know that that's coming, and you can keep an eye out for any trees that you may think we would need to use that for, and let me know. Before I wrap it up and ask you guys if you have anything for me, I just want to take a minute to thank the board and praise them. Mr. Stanley has been here only a short time, I'll say. I don't remember what month he started, but he's been great to work with so far. I'm not knocking any other supervisor or county administrator I've worked with. I've worked with, a handful in the few years I've been here. But he's got it, hit the ground running, and he's got the traits of a good leader. So I just enjoy working with him so far. I heard he's moving his family here, so it sounds like he's going to stay. So
Sounds like a good pick, right?
Yep, it was a good pick. So at this point, I'll turn it over to you guys. Let me know if you have any comments for me. Yes, Ms.
Well, I
Pratt.
want to start. First of all, I would like to thank you for that beautiful road heading 15 south toward Keysville. But turning at Worsham Grocery, that is hard. The design of that is so interesting. If you're going 15 south toward Keysville, turning left, it's hard. When you have people in the lanes, I almost saw 2 accidents today. If you move down a little bit farther and turn, then you're headed into somebody on the other side. Why was it designed like that with that turn?
This may sound like I'm joking, and I don't mean it to, but it's designed like that for a reason, but on purpose, I'll say. It's like, we call it access management. You got to control where people come out so that it becomes, it's more predictable. You know where the car has to go in. The way it was set up before was more of a free-for-all. Mm-hmm. You come in and out in many different locations, wherever a driver felt like coming in there. So when you control the access points, you're controlling where there could be a conflict. So I don't think it's perfect when you make a retrofit like that to an existing location. There's times where you can't make it strictly by the book, like if you were building a brand new facility. And we are reviewing it to install some delineators on top of that concrete island to help people see it and not hit it, so to speak.
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of people haven't gotten the hang of it, including myself. Because I can tell you, I almost saw an accident there today, and I've seen other questionable times. So that's going to be a work in progress.
Yes, ma'am.
And I understand what you're saying, but it's not working quite like that.
So, yeah, we're aware, and we're trying to put some tweaks in place right now.
Okay.
So.
My concern about the road where she's talking about is the big gully down through there. That thing should be perfectly smooth. Where it seemed together is awful.
Really?
It is awful.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I'll have to
the
look
biggest
closer.
The thing
problem.
about it is, as soon as we get a nice ice storm or snow, it's gonna come all to pieces because it's not even well put together.
Really? Okay. Well, I'll have
Got
to
a
look.
big crease going down through there.
Okay. Well, we haven't issued final acceptance on it,
Well, don't issue until it's,
so we'll make sure everything's up to our.
no,
Yeah.
don't accept it, not until it's
Yeah, but if you
completed,
could check
because it's
that
not.
area out, it's
Yeah.
not good.
We'll definitely make sure it's up to our standards before it's accepted. We don't want to take in any maintenance problems.
No, that's gonna be one.
Yes, ma'am.
Scott, on the 6-year plan, when do you all plan to start on resurfacing some of those roads and things? We're getting some questions.
I think as soon as we get done the work on 604, we're going to switch right over to working on our rural rustics. That's the plan, as long as we don't get any bad weather in between then and now, I guess.
Thank you. Go ahead, Luke.
Where you started working on Abilene Road, I've had calls that won't know why you stopped.
Yeah. I think with any new project, it's the first time the Hampton-Sydney area headquarters has done trench widening like that in a number of years. They haven't done it since I've been here. I think our rate of production will increase as we get going too, but we were kind of juggling that and the shoulder work we did on 460 at the same time, so we've just been a little scattered, but we're gonna get back at it and get making some production soon.
One more little thing, your comment about the trees. If you go up Five Forks Road, right at the corner of Bethfield Baptist Church's cemetery, there's an oak that is hanging across the road now, and it's hollow. And I'm surprised the ice storm didn't bring it down, but that's one tree that really needs to be removed before it
Okay.
comes down.
What was the name of the church one more time?
Beth Pier, Bethpeor. It's at the intersection of Singleton and Five Forks.
Okay.
You can't miss it. It's right close to the power line right there.
Okay. Yeah, well, that might be a good one for the list. If it's not already on there. We've already identified about 20 that we're gonna try to get.
Scott, one more thing that I've gotten 2 or 3 phone calls from, it would be the north side of 460, coming on to 460 at several of the entrances there, said that it was a real steep coming out there. One of them was at Newby Drive, and you all fixed that one. There's also 2 or 3 more that would be on the western side of Prospect. If you get a chance, just look at those, please.
Okay, for the Boom X?
No, they need some gravel coming out of those driveways onto the actual access to 460.
Okay, I got you.
Just check those if you would.
All right, yes, sir. West side of Prospect, you said?
West side of Prospect, yes, sir.
Trash pickup on 15 South, out of Farmville. What's the status of that? I know we talked about it last month.
Our mowing contractor is also doing our trash, and I think right before he comes in to do his second round cutting on the secondaries, he's scheduled to go through there. But I can verify that.
Yeah, can you check that, 15?
Yeah, I'll shoot you an email.
Okay. And DOC put their work crews back out. Do they do bridge work? Like cut debris around bridges?
Yes, sir, they will. We have to get them trained with the power saws, and then they can start doing work like that.
Okay, I'll wait a while. I'll get back with you on that
Okay,
one.
yes, sir.
Since they just started.
Is there anything else? If not, it's time for our, don't mean to cut you off, Scott, but
No problem.
public hearing. Robbie, when you get ready.
Let me get out of the way.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, public hearing tonight is to consider an application by Hampton-Sydney College for a rezoning of 9.44 acres from A2 agricultural residential to college residential CR district. The property is located off of Via Sacra and is identified as tax map number 049-A-34C. The purpose of this, if you're looking in your package, is to increase the density that would be allowed from A2 to what's allowed in CR, which a minimum lot size in college residential is 20,000 square feet. You'll see in their concept plan, there are 16 lots. Those lots are greater than that density, but they are smaller than what is allowed by an A2 district. This public hearing was properly advertised in the Farnborough Herald. Adjoining property owners were notified by letter. Planning Commission held their advisory hearing on June 15th, and no one spoke. However, we did have one letter of opposition from Mr. John Dudley, which is part of the minutes that's in your package from that Planning Commission meeting. The commission unanimously recommended approval of the rezoning, forwarding the request to you for consideration. Like I said, in their comprehensive plan, this is an area that's designated as a development area. Do want to note that the development, if approved, would have to go through site plan review, whether it's under A2 or CR zoning. Any subdivision would have to come through us, which would be looked at by VDOT. Prince Edward County mandates state design roads, so VDOT would have their direct input on connectivity and construction standards of the subdivision road. We did receive a new letter from Alva Moore on July 10th, which you'll have at your place setting, which expressed some concerns from herself and a couple of the neighbors.
Thank you.
And I'll be glad to answer any question that you may have.
I think you were just given a letter from Alva.
Yes.
Um,
And we do have a couple of speakers that are signed on to speak, and I think she's one of them too.
Are there any questions before we open this up to, anyone have any questions for Robbie? Just, if not, I'm going to open the public hearing then. Is anyone online that would like to speak? Is Miss Alva Moore on? I am. Alva, this is David. Go ahead if you'd like to speak, if you'd like to.
Thank you very much. Thank you all of the county board supervisors. I think I've pretty well stated my explanation in terms of in the letter that you have in front of you. Trying to take into account, government rights and progress. Our largest concern is about the students live and be a construct. There's really the traffic that creates development which brings down that road is completely overloaded. And, we would like to think that the college would look elsewhere for other land that are more easily developed area, greater, easier access to town. But, first of all, just love and Johnny come forward and give us some really good information and advice. It does seem that this development does go ahead, losing the road development into kind of Rock Street, road up the way, would go a long way to help the traffic not interfere with the way it works right now. Neighbors.
Does anyone on the board have anything to ask or? Sorry about that. Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments to Ms. Moore?
Is there anyone from, Hampton here tonight?
Is that Lucy? Is that Lucy Carter? Lucy, go ahead if you'd like to. Alva, you're welcome to stay on. We're just going to hear from everyone, then we'll open it back up.
take Albert's point about reducing back to remove voluntary as a potential best practice is valid, and discussions that we got definitely reveal that a process and accuracy or not. And I would like to point out in my letter, that prior to the clock cutoff will be available to all three. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Is James Ariotti, is that correct? Mr. Ariotti?
He is here.
Go ahead.
Hello, I wish to endorse the suggestion by Lucy Carter about postponing any decisions and having more discussion. I'm one of those who only learned about this a few days ago, and there was no information available on the sign. It just said that there was going to be a public hearing and call. And I think that she's entirely right that the residents haven't had much of a discussion. I would add that the college did make some commitments and promises to people who live in Roxbury, and the road that ends, that Alva has suggested linking, it would destroy the neighborhood of Roxbury, and it would also be a violation of the commitment that the college made that the streets would end with the lots in Roxbury. So this is one of the items that needs to be discussed. Also, the drainage area, which is going to be used for waste, where the part is going to be covered by the sewer line, is also a matter of concern to the residents. And so I think that no decision should be made hasty. The college has frequently gotten trouble by making hasty decisions, and it would be better to take the time to think it through. That's all I have to say.
Thank you from each one of you. I'm gonna look to Ms. Pride just this moment because that's her district, and just ask her if she has anything to say or any input, and then I'm gonna, I guess, give you my opinion, and then we'll leave it to the board.
I was going to say, I can appreciate what my constituents are saying, and it seems like it was the timing. Now, Mr. Ariety, who just spoke, wasn't aware of it until a few days ago, so it looks like they were not a part of the discussion before all of this came. So if we can look at, getting it back out there, hearing other opinions, I think that would help.
All right, this time I'm gonna, is there anyone else for public participation? Is there anyone else to speak to it or for it? Go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Alva.
Yes, and I very much appreciate Mr. Arietta's viewpoint there. The loop was honestly kind of one of those compromise ideas because we are aware that the college has the right to develop, whether it's good for the community or not. And we're kind of wondering if you guys are going to think it's going to be really harsh on the road for emergency vehicles and so forth to have two cul-de-sac
All right. Is there,
David, I would like to just add one comment.
yes, ma'am?
I don't think, well, I know at no time will the safety of any children or anybody else that's walking around or whatever will be compromised. They're gonna see that that's taken care of when it's all said and done. That's no question about that.
What you, who, the board or the college? I think the board could help us, and I'm not sure the college would, colleges could, in the future, allow, student housing, I think, down there.
I think the college would have a lot of say in it as well as the board.
All right, at this,
Yes.
you all are more than welcome to stay online. At this time, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'm going to open it up to the supervisors to discuss this, and then we'll make a decision. But Lou, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, a couple of things. Robert, on page 149, there's a blue outline.
Yes,
Is that the property?
That is a 9.44 acres, yes, sir.
You got a site plan on 145. If you look at the site plan, they're incorporating more land than what's in.
That is correct. If you look at what is outlined in red is that blue parcel.
Yeah, and the gentleman on the line a minute ago made the comment, if I understood him right, I couldn't hardly hear him, about these roads connecting, but it's not showing that it's connecting at all. It's a turnaround.
That is correct. And
Okay.
this is a concept only to show what their intended use is, that it shows the density, which triggers the need for the rezoning. But again, I wanted to state, no matter what happens tonight, if Hampton Sydney brings a site plan to the county, it will go to the VDOT, we'll send it to the local fire department, which is Hampton Sydney. It'll be looked at from a public safety standpoint, from a traffic flow standpoint, and design standpoint, and of course, drainage and ENS and storm would come through my office, and that would have to be to Virginia Stormwater Standards. I did want to state that. So this concept is not locked in. It's just something to show that they wanted that number of lots, and the lots were smaller than what A2 allowed in that area. But again, the development is larger than that 9.44 acre tract.
Right, right. In some of the comments that people mentioned over the phone that they didn't have information, maybe we could give them some of this information here.
Well, I've talked to most of these folks except for, I think, Ms. Carter, I think is her name. I talked to Ms. Moore, and you know what?
Yeah.
Yes, and I talked to Mr. Ariety. This information, this concept has been online on the county website since before the planning commission meeting.
Good.
Before June the 15th?
Yes, sir.
And you said they knew that?
It's been advertised that, in both advertisements in the paper, even the ones for the planning commission, it said that the application was available on our county website. Now, this concept is, from what I've understand from my discussions in the office with these citizens, they had no idea this was coming. But that happens. I mean, subdividers all throughout the county don't get with their neighbors. Typically, they'll bring a site plan to the county for administrative review. But, you know, subdivision happens at will in the county.
Do we not have a plan for notifying neighbors and whatnot directly by mail or something?
Yes, sir, and we follow state guidelines to the letter in this case, in both meetings, the planning commission and this meeting.
And their letter was mailed in advance,
Yes, sir.
according to the code?
Yes, sir. Properly advertised and properly mailed. So like I said, again, I know there's been some general mail, air mail is slow,
Delay.
but we also follow that up with 2 advertisements to make sure that public notification is out there.
Oh, that's good.
And it goes on the county website.
Well, I think Ms. Pride has made an assumption here, which is true, that some of these people may not have had, for whatever reason, may not have gotten that. In our options, we can table this till next month if we so desire. If you all think that you'd like to have these people have a little more time to contact us or to have something, that's an option that we have, so. It's up
No
to,
timeline on it, is it?
no, sir.
You could table it. You could also hold a second public hearing if you felt like the public should be given additional time to comment. I've seen that done before as well.
That's a board decision as to whether you want to approve this or whether you want to table it until August. That's totally up to the board.
I would propose we table it until August.
Well, there's been a motion made to table this to August. It's been properly made and seconded, Ms. Pride.
Yes.
Myself, I'm going to say yes. Patty Cooper Jones?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
All right, for those of you all that are still online, I guess you can hear us that will be tabled until August. So if you would like to contact any of us, please do so. You might talk to Ms. Pride. She would have a meeting or something. That's up to you all. It's in her district, and I'm going to leave it up to her. And if you need us to attend, let me know.
Okay, thank you.
And David?
Yes, sir.
They also should contact him, Sydney, and talk to them as to why that site was selected over some other ones and so forth, because
we could do
I
that.
would think that Hampton Sydney has its own planner and whatnot, and there's a
Sure.
reason for selecting that
Sure.
site.
And then I'll be talking with Kenneth Copeland as well.
And Mr. Chairman, if I
ahead.
could, Robbie, so, this is part of the properties having to be rezoned, not the total piece.
That's correct.
There still could be quite a close number of lots that could be developed even without the rezoning, but the rezoning allows for some smaller lots and allows for continuity of zoning. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. In their concept plan, they've got some lots that are below the 1 acre threshold with water and sewer services and an A2. They could develop that 9.44 acres into 1 acre lots
Correct.
by right.
Correct.
So this would allow them to get below that, and of course, with the CR zoning, that takes it on down to 20,000 square feet. But that's not their concept proposal, but that doesn't mean they couldn't develop to that density.
Right.
That's correct. And go ahead.
I was going to say, just looking at it, they would maybe lose 2 or 3 lots.
That's right.
2 lots,
Yeah,
two apiece.
Probably 2 to 3 lots.
Yeah.
Two lots at the most, maybe 3.
Okay.
But I don't see it, it's not, it doesn't.
So I just wanted to say, this is not an all or nothing proposal, whether it's turned up or turned down. It's a matter of what is the density and potentially the connectivity of that road, but what is the density of the development, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
You would see probably a couple fewer lots, but it wouldn't kill the potential development you said.
All right, well, that has been tabled to our next meeting. I need to back up and authorize a public hearing for the school budget.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct?
Yes, sir. We're going to go back to page 111.
111.
Bear with me
We
just a
just
minute.
need
So, in your packet, you got a letter from the Prince Edward County Public Schools requesting an appropriation of $3,143,231 of federal coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security, or CARES Act, of 2020 funding to the FY22 school budget. Pursuant to Section 15.2-2507 of the Code of Virginia, any locality may amend its budget during the fiscal year. However, if such an amendment exceeds the currently adopted expenditures by 1% or more, the locality must advertise the amendment at least 7 days prior to the public hearing. The county's currently adopted FY22 budget for all funds totals approximately $63.4 million. The funding request equates to an increase of slightly more than 4.957%, which triggers the requirement for a public hearing. As the letter that I sent to the superintendent requested, I've asked for a spending plan of that proposed funding, particularly since we're going to have a public hearing and the public may very well be here to ask questions about what's it being spent on. So hopefully we'll have that information in hand for the public hearing next month.
So do you need a motion for a public hearing?
Yes, sir.
So moved.
It's been properly made and seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
So moved. Let me talk back up. All right, we're at event planning.
No, 11. Excuse me, we got one
Beg
more.
your pardon, VDOT, yep.
Page 117. So at the board meeting on June 8th, the board authorized staff to work with the CRC and submit a revenue sharing application for the Manor Drive turn lane project. It's my understanding that project turn lanes were not installed with the original Manor Poplar Hill project. In fact, I think the reason they weren't installed was at one point in time, there was a plan to 4-lane 15 all the way down through Worsham. and that later was, I guess, scuttled or pulled off the table from VDOT. So rather than put all the turn lanes in, which would have been throwaway work, to be replaced by the 4-laning of the highway, they didn't require it. And now, in order to accommodate the almost 2,000 units of the manor, you're going to need turn lanes. Working with CRC, we were able to get the pre-application file with VDOT by the July 1st deadline. Need to come back to the board. The project cost, and this is estimated, and usually engineers and estimates are high, we hope, but the estimate's gone from 1.5 million to a little over 3 million. And part of that is they're estimating the cost of additional right-of-way on the other side of the road. As discussed at the June 8th meeting, the project match would hopefully come from CDA funds, developer funds, and/or grant funds, and not county funding. That's not what we're proposing. Much of the increase in costs is based on 3 factors, including the construction won't happen until 2027. So they're trying to guesstimate where the market's going to be 6 years from now with inflation. Again, right-of-way cost and contingency fees. The revenue sharing program provides a dollar-for-dollar match up to $10 million for projects. The reality is, without turn lanes, you're not going to build more than probably a couple hundred houses in there because you'll need turn lanes and eventually probably stoplights out there at the entrance. So, ultimately, this is if something's going to happen on the manor site, it gives us about 5 years to work with the CDA and the developers to be able to come up with funding. And I've told them it's going to be easier for them to come up with half the money than it will be to come up with all the money. But eventually, they're going to run into a wall. If anything's ever going to happen in the manor, this is one of those things that needs to happen in order for them to be able to move forward with the project. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? So do you need a proposal for a letter or just?
So we've got a revised resolution. So the proposed motion is that the board approve the attached revised resolution for the VDOT revenue sharing program for this project as outlined.
All right, board, what's your flavor?
Do we need a motion to approve that, or?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Resolution, I move that the Board of Supervisors approve the attached revised resolution for VDOT revenue sharing program as outlined.
I'll second
There has been a motion made and seconded for this proposal. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
it. Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
All right, now we're skipping down to 153, is that correct? Number
Yes, sir.
13? Event permit.
So the 5 County Fair Association is requesting to hold the 5 County Fair, fairgrounds from September 28th to October 3rd of 2021. And you've got a completed application for a festival permit.
So moved. Been a motion made, is there a second?
Second.
It has been made and properly seconded. Ms. Pride?
Well, I just have a question.
Go ahead.
But do they feel it's absolutely safe to have this fair? Due to COVID restrictions or
According to
whatever?
I'll say this, that I've seen counties across, some starting to, they're having, I know my home county is going to have one this year. Shenandoah County is going to have one.
They've got one going on
Yeah.
right now.
They're moving, it looks like, and I honestly, I don't know financially if some of these fair associations could take going 2 years without a fair financially.
But most of your theme parks open.
Yeah.
Yep, Kings Dominion, Busch
Gardens, all of them.
Hershey Park.
Well, yeah, you're correct, Ms. Pride. Oh, well, there has been a motion made and seconded. Ms. Pride?
Abstain.
She abstains. I'm going to say yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
All right, citizen volunteer appointment, 157.
So at the June meeting, the board made appointments to a number of various citizen volunteer positions. We had a letter of resignation from Gaynell Troxler, who was appointed to the Board of Social Services in order to fill the vacancy. We've attached a remaining eligible applicant that lives in that district. We had another application, but the individual didn't live in the Green Bay Meharron area of the county. I talked to Supervisor Townsend, whose district this is in, and we put this on the agenda for consideration by the board.
So move.
Has been, just from Ms. Sneed.
Sneed,
Ms.
second.
Pamela Sneed.
Yep. It's been a motion made and seconded. Ms. Pamela Sneed for the appointment. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
So moved.
Next item is the U.S. Selective Service Board. The county's been contacted by the U.S. Selective Service regarding vacancies on the Selective Service Local Board for Prince Edward County. The board is appointed by the governor of Virginia. However, they're asking the county to assist with encouraging interested and eligible candidates to apply. There's background information there on the packet. Board members know anybody that may be interested or have advice with regard to engaging with our community to recruit volunteers. Basically, would ask them to reach out to Sarah so she can put them in touch with the appropriate agency contact.
I guess just get up with Sarah if we know somebody.
Was there a second page and a recommended motion on this? No, that's it. So I think it's just if you know anybody, please put them in touch with Sarah.
All right, 163, request from Peavers.
Attached for your consideration is a request from Prince Edward Volunteer Rescue Squad. In January, the squad was awarded a Rescue Squad Assistance Fund grant for a loading system and stretcher. This is the stretcher that you have a patient that's larger, you only got a two-person crew out there. It'll automatically kind of lift them up into the unit. I can tell you one of the largest claims for injuries is back problems from paramedics and picking up stretchers. Additionally, due to COVID, the Stryker system experienced production issues, and it was unclear if the squad would be able to procure the awarded items. They've now been able to receive the equipment. They're requesting the county's assistance with the local match portion of the grant, which totals $19,939.02. At present, there's a fund balance in the EMS levy of $208.04. This will be an eligible expenditure of the levy funds. If you look at the recommendations, Sarah's also, in addition to approving the request, but tasking the Fire EMS Committee to work with the county EMS agencies for the development of a 5-year plan for the EMS levy fund for consideration and approval by the full board. Just so we're not approving these requests kind of ad hoc as they come up, but have a plan forward on how to utilize the funding.
So moved.
Let's second that. That's including the 5-year plan, right?
Yes.
Yes, that would be the,
Did we get to one from Pamela? That unit had one in it.
this would equip the others with it.
Too much
Stretcher.
stretcher?
That one is in service, so.
As far as I know, yes, yes. There's been a motion made and properly seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper Jones?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
All right, redistricting.
Redistricting. Of course, we're a little behind the 8 ball, and part of that is the fact that still to date, we haven't received our census data. But the Constitution of Virginia and the Code of Virginia provide the Board of Supervisors has the responsibility for implementing the 2021 redistricting of the local election districts of the county based on the 2020 census data. The process itself will begin after a federal census data is released, which has been delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Is now anticipated release in August and made available to localities in September. Attached for your review and approval are 1, proposed composition for the Citizen Advisory Committee for Redistricting. 2, a resolution formalizing the establishment of a Citizen Advisory Committee for Redistricting, which instructs staff as to the actions related thereto and detailing the structure and actions of the Redistricting Committee. 3, a resolution that provides a general statement of the goal, criteria and policies that would be followed, and 4, a general guidance document which outlines Virginia redistricting laws and processes. In order to obtain input from the public, the board has historically established a Citizen Advisory Committee for Redistricting in 1991, 2001, and 2011. The committee has been comprised of one representative each of the County Democratic Party, County Republican Party, and the NAACP. Committee is supported by staff from the Registrar's Office and the County Administrator's Offices, County Attorney, and with the technological and redistricting software support from the Commonwealth Regional Council. In a series of meetings, the committee will meet with staff and CRC and prepare a number of alternatives that will be presented and considered by the board. Meetings of the committee are open to the public, and observers and all interested persons may attend and contribute to the success of those committee meetings. The time requirements for committee members could be intensive, but are uncertain at this time. Committee members might expect to meet once or twice a week during business hours with county and CRC staff to develop the redistricting plans that the committee will then present to the board for consideration. The committee will submit its final report and recommendations to the board. After considering the advisory committee's report and such other information as the board desires, the board would then be in a position to advertise those plans for public hearing. At present, it is not expected this process will be completed by the November election. The registrar continues to review all available information and shares it with the county administrator's office. So you've got your recommendations, which are again adopt and approve the composition of a citizen advisory committee and direct staff to contact each entity for the name of its representative to be appointed by the board at its August meeting. 2, to approve the draft resolution formalizing the establishment of the Citizen Advisory Committee for Redistricting, which instructs staff as to the actions related thereto and detailing the structure and actions of the Redistricting Committee. And 3, approving the resolution that provides a statement of goals, criteria, and policies for the Prince Edward County redistricting process for 2021. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions?
It seems like this process has gone very smoothly in the past, talking to Sarah and members of the community. So unless y'all feel there's a need to change, I think if it, of course, not broken, let's not try to fix it.
I'm in agreement. You need a, guess you just need a vote to continue on the way.
To adopt those 3 recommendations, yes, sir.
So moved.
Just second it.
It's been properly made and seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jared?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
Strategic plan.
Give me just a second, let me get to my
Take your time.
page number. So I've been working with Dr. Pride as chair of the Strategic Planning Committee and Letterpress to take the board's last iteration of the strategic planning document and get it into a glossier, kind of one-page product that we can use not only for the website, but be able to use elements of it for Facebook and other social media. The board worked on this document in 2016 and updated it in 2018. The attached one-pager synthesizes the plan into a one-page document that's easier to distribute and use as a marketing piece. The plan is intended as a guide for the community for the next 20 years, but the board may want to bring back the entire board together in 2023 for what would be then a 5-year review of the document. Appreciate your thoughts and feedback on that, but I think it's an easy-to-read format. It's something that we need to put out there. We've been sitting on it since 2018, and you know, I think y'all put a lot of effort into it, and I think it's a good product.
Mrs. Stanley.
Yes, ma'am.
if you look in the center of the second page where it says visions and themes, Prince Edward County Board of Supervisors vision, it says a progressive, diverse, and inclusive county that honors its heritage and collaborates with our citizens. That needs to be its citizens, going back, talking about the county.
We can make that fix.
And I definitely feel we need to review it, in 5 years. Don't just leave it stagnant, look to see how we're doing, what needs to be added or whatever. And I think that needs to be included in the motion if we approve this. I like the document.
I think it's nice also, just to reiterate with Dr. Pryor.
So are you saying that you're putting forth a motion to accept it to be revisited in 5 years?
Yes, before that, I would like to ask a question.
Sure.
How can we see that our citizens in the county see this? I know we talked about maybe when we, talk about that a little bit.
I think, one potential, I've done this before, is with a one-pager, it's easy enough to put in the tax bill that goes out. In the fall, I can work with the treasurer. That's the one time when we send materials out to our public. And if we're worried about reaching people who aren't on the internet and aren't on social media, I think that's the easiest, and I think it's pretty cost-effective. So if you would include that as part of any motion, then that certainly we can work towards that as well.
Can I got
Go
another
ahead.
comment. I think it also needed, most facilities, their strategic plan is posted. I think it should be posted inside this building where
Oh, yeah.
people entering and entering this facility can see our strategic plan and what's our strategic plan and our vision is. So that should be something that's always in the forefront that we look forward to. Because that's our goal, that's what we are trying to achieve. So I think that most definitely need to be posted throughout the courthouse. Nice 5x7 or I'm talking about poster size, something big that jump out at you.
Rest in that.
Yeah.
I think you mean 11 by 17, put it in some of our boards and stuff. We got room for that.
All right, so what I'm hearing is that someone's moving to accept this, to be revisited 5 years from now, and to correct the wording, and to also post it in the.
Just clarify, revisit in 5 years, but that would be from 18, so 2023, so in 2 years.
Yes,
That's correct.
yeah, definitely.
Every 5 years.
Yes.
so to speak.
Yes,
All right, and also for it to be posted in the courthouse, is that correct?
yes.
All right, there's been a motion made, is there a second?
Second. Cooper Jones got it.
All right, then a motion properly made and seconded, Ms. Pride,
Yes.
myself, yes, Patty,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
and Lou.
Yes.
All right, so moved. Page 251, our emergency continuity, ordinance of continuity of government.
So at your meeting back on April 7 of 2020, the board adopted an emergency ordinance for continuity of government in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The emergency ordinance allowed the board to meet without having a quorum present in the room. It also allowed the public entities created by the board to meet electronically without a quorum present, with the meetings closed to the public to limit exposure to COVID-19. The emergency ordinance was readopted on June 9th and included an expiration of 6 months past the date of the removal of the governor's declaration of emergency. The governor's declaration expired on June 30, 2021, which means the county's emergency ordinance, unless rescinded by the board earlier, will expire on December 31 of 2021. As the board recently indicated, with the reduction in the COVID-19 cases and the increase in percentage of vaccination rates in the community, we would like to transition back to in-person meetings. At this time, staff is not recommending that the emergency ordinance be rescinded as of yet. We would ask for some additional time to evaluate the additional provisions that were put in place when the meetings were closed to the public, including our telephone participation, the Zoom participation, emailing or dropping off of public comments, and taping of the meetings for the county's YouTube channel. I think these provisions have allowed for much greater and more convenient access by the public. at our meeting and public hearings. By allowing the meetings to be attended in person, we can allow for the public attendance, but still keep in place the ability of the board members to attend remotely if needed, if you were sick or in quarantine. With the new Delta variant out, I have just a slight concern that, we've seen cases of people who had been vaccinated getting sick. And it's not just that 4 of you all of a sudden at once or 5 will get sick, but say 2 got sick, but they were also in contact with 2 others, and all of a sudden, majority of our board is out of the boardroom. We wouldn't be able to have a meeting. So the council rescinded the emergency ordinance. They're back to business as usual, which means, y'all have already adopted procurement provisions for, let's say if Supervisor Booth is out sick, she can attend remotely, I think up to 25% of your meetings. So that's already in place, but you still have to have a majority present in this room in order to conduct business. If we let the emergency ordinance stand, but simply, like your ordinance, allow the public to attend our meetings and open the public back up, if for some reason in the next few months we run into a situation where we can't have a majority in the room, the chairman and I could be here and we could have the meeting, everybody else could participate electronically, and we could carry on with business. So is it the end of the world to rescind it? No. It gives us a little more flexibility and just maybe let that run its course. I think I'm a strong proponent of trying to keep in place some of the other provisions. I think from a technology standpoint, we got to figure out which ones work better. Not everybody has computer access. That's why I think the phone is important for folks that don't have internet access. But I do have talked to a lot of people that have watched our meetings on, either participated on Zoom or watched on YouTube. They really enjoy watching the meetings and seeing what happens with their local government. So I think a lot of those things we're going to probably end up keeping, and I want to continue to evaluate that. Obviously it takes staff training and everything to make it all work, but it's all, keeping the ordinance in place, it's all about having a little more flexibility should something happen.
A technical question on that, which I'm not very good at on the technical side of it, but as far as people watching it on Zoom, a lot of people aren't equipped to do that. Can they also watch it streaming? In other words, I was able to watch an event this past weekend on my computer, and I don't have the ability to watch, anything on a Zoom, but I was able to, see and hear everything on the streaming situation.
Yes, sir. We have our YouTube channel, and I think we've had a glitch once or twice where it wasn't loading, but normally it's up and people can stream it and watch it while it's happening.
I can understand this variant is getting real bad in a few places also.
And you're seeing people who have been vaccinated get sick with it. Now, nothing says you couldn't adopt another emergency ordinance, but I think it'll run out in 6 months, and hopefully by that point we'll definitely know for sure kind of where we stand with
Still in
the
place,
virus.
but we open up to the public, like
I
you
think,
done that.
Business
I
as
like
usual.
that. I think that's a good option.
I think what we're hearing is that we would like to more or less have a motion to open it up to in-person. Is that correct?
Yes. So moved.
So moved. It's been a motion made to open the meetings to in-person and leave the rest of the ordinances in place,
Effective August meeting.
effective August 1st.
I'll second it.
It's been properly made and seconded. Ms. Bride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
So moved. We're gonna skip 20?
Well, you've got, of course, Sarah and Trey are both out on leave, much deserved leave this week. You can see our case counts in the packet through July versus June 8. You only gained 2 cases. You had a couple more, 2 less hospitalizations or 2 more hospitalizations, 1 more death attributed. The Delta variant, again, is our greatest threat, and we'll keep you posted. I think the biggest thing we've been really looking at is the fact that Longwood has mandated vaccinations for its students. Those students, they're counted in our population figures for Prince Edward County. But because of the way the reporting's done and the fact that when you're a student and you go in and you fill out your paperwork for being vaccinated, you're putting your home address on there. And your home address is home. I know that. My daughter goes to the University of Virginia. She filled out her home address. She didn't count at Charlottesville. She counted it at home. When you factor those 4,000 quote-unquote guaranteed vaccinations, because they're mandatory except in certain medical instances, that will automatically bump our vaccination rate to over 50% and our first shot percentage to over 56%. So we go to one of the lower in the states to certainly one of the higher. So VDH numbers will never show that, but we know we have such a large percentage, with 20% of our population between the two colleges. And Hampton-Sydney, which is not mandating it, but they've put in practice so many different steps the students have to take, such as wearing a mask all the time and quarantining and having to leave campus if they come into contact with somebody. I would bet, and we'll find out hopefully in the next month or two, that a large percentage of their students will be vaccinated as well. That would only drive our number up. Our mobile clinics, we gave out 162 shots. That's what the J&J through the mobile clinics. Appreciate Sarah and Trey working with the National Guard to make sure that's happened as well. But, we're continuing to work through the month of July with our local clinics, and hopefully we'll be able to see those percentages continue to rise.
All right. Ms. Terry, do you have anything for us?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Most of the past month has been spent with working on IDA, with the matter with the Lowe's access, and we're still kind of working through that. Doug's been handling most of that correspondence. No cases of lawsuits against the county, which is all good news. And I've still got a couple of ordinances that we're working on that we haven't wrapped up yet, but hope to get those wrapped up this month. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Just a quick question, because I got a phone call this week. I guess an ordinance, I don't know how that works. There's a gentleman who came in and applied for a mobile home park or change, which we allowed. When that happened, he didn't realize that it changed, nor did I, as far as that's concerned. He had cattle on that property when that change went from, I guess it was ag A1, is that correct?
Correct.
To mobile home. Had he have allowed anyone to live in the mobile homes during that time, he would have been grandfathered in as a mobile home park and ag at the same time. Is that correct?
I don't know if I can answer that without the background, Mr. Chairman.
The way, from what I understand, the way our ordinances were to begin with, there was no such thing as a mobile home park in Prince Edward County. You could have mobile homes and have a mobile home park, but it would have been in the A2. Do you agree or disagree, Terry, or don't know?
I recall the situation, and I recall when it was done, but I don't, without looking back at that, I'm not positive either.
What I'm getting at is he was gonna return his cattle to the property to finish cleaning it up and whatever else, and he was told that he could not do that because it was now a mobile home park, and he didn't realize that. And he called me and asked me about it, and I said, I didn't have any idea that when you changed it, that all the property there went to mobile home park regardless. What I'm getting at is, as a board member, I don't know how that we check that out or whatever else, but in the future, we kind of need to know I guess what the ramifications are when you change from one thing to the other, what you can do or can't do or whatever else, because he didn't realize that because he has a barn and everything on the property, and now that's of quote unquote of no value whatsoever, because he can't use it for anything agriculture at all. I don't even think he can store hay in it or anything else, because it's now a mobile home park.
It may be related to that zoning of being a mobile home park, because I know, for instance, where my former real estate office used to be, it was allowed, I could have a house there, I could have a business there. I didn't have to have one or the other. I was allowed, the way that it was zoned, to have multiple things. But I think perhaps once it was determined that it had to be a mobile home park, then he had to comply with that zoning. But I'd have to look back at the facts
Which
to say.
is not, that he plans to do that, he just didn't realize that going through that process would negate his ability to use his barn or anything else. That was something, and there's some other, it's the same thing with some of the other things, that ordinances and things that we're gonna have to look at in the future, whatever else, that we need to look at them and see what the long-term effect is versus, that may be the short-term, I guess is what I'm getting at. So if there's anything that you can bring to the board that we know of, that you know of, please let us know, because.
And I would think, like in that instance, I'm just going to throw out that, maybe there's a time where it's still a farm, and then once you start to develop, once you bring the first mobile home in, it becomes a mobile home park, because, obviously if you've got 5 mobile homes, you don't want cows interspersed throughout the mobile home park, but there's a point of kind of demarcation where you've transitioned from the farming operation to the mobile home park.
And, maybe at the time, it should have rezoned, left part of it, not all of it rezoned as the mobile
I was
home
gonna
park.
say, I think that in the future, that's something that we as a board need to look at. Do you want to rezone all of that land, or are you just trying to rezone where the mobile homes actually are, or something of nature? Because if this particular property, the whole front side was a pasture and the back side was the mobile homes, and the front side went around to his barn, and now he can't use.
You could certainly try to go back and rezone, downzone it, that's the other option.
I don't even think he's looked at that. He just did not realize that, because he was gonna move the cows back in there, and then someone said, no, you can't do that. So then he realized, well, I have a barn here that I can't use for anything either. So it's kind of a catch-22. I just wanted to bring it to the board and let you all know that there's, with all of these, with all of them, there's always a catch somewhere that we need to be careful of. That just a point of reference.
Anything else for the? All right, thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Mr. Stanley.
All right, so my report, Crossroads Board approved moving forward with a forensic audit by a vote of 5 to 1. I continue to work with Cumberland Administrator Don Missick and the Crossroads Board Chair on efforts to get them moving forward with an audit. Landfill DEQ permit, the advertisement, the permanent increase from 100 to 175 tons per day has been placed in the Herald. Public comment period for the permit modification ends on July 16. ACT Work Ready certification, I want to extend my congratulations to everyone involved in helping Prince Edward County become one of 15 counties in Virginia that have become certified as a work-ready community. This program helps match the county's workforce development efforts to the needs of business and industry. By achieving certified work-ready community status, Prince Edward County has demonstrated that we have a robust workforce development effort aligned to our economic development needs that allows us to market the quality of our workforce. I want to give special thanks to Dr. Johnson and Prince Edward County Public School System for their efforts in helping us to obtain that achievement. CRC on-call vendor list, at my urging, the Commonwealth Regional Council has put out an RFP for engineering, architectural, and other services. I'm serving with Dan Witt on the review committee. We hope to get some vendors selected within the month. And with the county leaving VGA on June 30, that gives us access to vendors without having to individually go through a procurement process. Biosolids application, there's a list of farms that I given the board a report on. NutriBlend has notified the county that they will be doing spreading material on a number of sites in the month of July. Of course, with the heat and the spreading, you'll get maybe some complaints about smell and those types of odor issues. Lastly, Sandy River Reservoir and the permit. Consultants are working on submittal of the permit. We'll be in front of the council tomorrow night, talking to them about getting a resolution of support, letter of support as well for that. A couple other things. The Honorable Megan Clark, our Commonwealth Attorney, has been appointed to the Forensic Science Board by the governor. Want to congratulate Megan on that achievement. The other item I wanted to mention, we have been fortunate enough, you remember the board committed $5,000 for our COVID vaccination scholarship effort. And since that time, now we have received a total of $20,000 in commitments. We've got $5,000 from Central Hospital, $1,000 from the volunteers at Farmville Cares, and $2,000 from Piedmont Senior Resources and funding that they had to spend on COVID-19. At this time, and I previously talked to our Finance Committee Chair, I want to ask the board to modify our vaccination scholarship slightly. Originally, we were going to do 10 $1,000 scholarships. I now want to change that to 10 $2,000 scholarships, try to raise the awareness of that. And I also want to push out, our deadline had been August 1. I want to push that out to the 13th. Schools will be starting August 2nd. I believe the school system is talking with the health district about trying to get a clinic. If we can get a clinic scheduled in the first couple of weeks, that would give the opportunity for us to get more of the kids vaccinated and give them an additional opportunity to get entered into the drawing for potential winning a scholarship. So I'd ask the board to consider those two modifications to that program.
Is there a motion to revisit this and remodel it? To 20, I mean to
10
10
$2,000.
2,000, not 21,000, 10 2,000. Been a motion made and seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yeah.
So moved.
Thank you very much. And again, I want to thank Centra, Hampton-Sydney, Longwood, Luckstone, the county, Mid-Atlantic Irrigation, Jim O'Connor, Farmville Cares, and Piedmont Senior Resources for their support of this effort to get our kids vaccinated.
Thank you all. Thank you. On page 275 through 283, you just have more or less your monthly reports, which you have a copy of. Are there any questions? If not, our addendum packet, page 285, appropriations.
School board grants to the county, in addition to the one we advertised, we received a request from the schools requesting appropriation amount of $228,405.72 to the school operating budget. The ARP funding request must be kept separate for future reporting purposes. This is part of our American Rescue Plan funding. So an additional expense line is being created in lieu of transferring to the instruction line. But these are all funds that don't require a local match. It will be additional funds to support programs in the school system.
So moved.
Do we need a vote on that?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's been made,
Second.
seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty Cooper?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
The next item is accounting services. To enable the county to meet the requirements of our Statement of Auditing Standards issued by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and provide guidance to external auditors on how they should communicate internal control-related matters identified in their audit to an organization's financial statements. Prince Edward County will again need to engage professional accounting services to provide a pre-audit scope of work. Last year, Mary Kay Earhart PLLC provided such services. Unfortunately, Mary is unable to provide the time commitment for the project given their current list of clients. They'd indicated latest this week they could have come in towards the latter half of November, but technically November 30th is when we're supposed to have our audit complete. So we'd like to get back on schedule. The last 2 years we've failed to meet that deadline. We reached out to 2 other firms and received a proposal from VML Vaco Finance to provide services. They are able to meet the county's needs. Robert K. Fry, CPA, has over 32 years of local government finance experience. He most recently served as the comptroller for the town of Leesburg for 8 months. The pay rate is $97.50 an hour for remote work and $102.50 an hour for on-site plus travel expenses per diem. These rates compare favorably to the ones charged by Mary Earhart's firm. In total, Mary estimated charges last year at $22,000 to $26,000. The final cost to the county was $39,385 due to them running into additional issues during the audit process. The attached proposal from VML Vaco indicates a maximum estimated fee of $22,000. We certainly hope the books are in better shape this year than they were last year. Our current budget includes $85,000 for auditing services. It's anticipated the RFC contract is going to be about $43,000 to $45,000. So that'll leave us ample funding to cover the VML Vaco proposal. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I'm glad we've been able to get it covered, and the field work will be completed in September to October in time for RFC to come on site to do their work.
All right, we all heard from Mr. Stanley. Is there a motion made for the hiring of this VACO VML or VACO, Mr. Fry?
Mr. Fry, so moved.
Been properly made, is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly made and seconded, Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
The next item, we have a request from Norma Tuck with Virginia Heartlands Regional Park for a request from the Tobacco Commission. They want a letter of support. And Jerry, I believe you serve on that board as well, don't you?
Sure. That's for about the well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Do you just need more or less a head nod?
Yes.
We just need a consent. Is there anyone who's,
Anybody have a problem with me?
that's
sending
right. If not,
Okay.
send a letter of support.
I'll send it. Next item is event permit request for a truck and tractor pull from the Appomattox Young Farmers Association to hold one at the 5 County Fairgrounds, September 4 of 21.
So moved. Yeah, we've had this before. I'm going to second that. Been a motion made and seconded. Ms. Pride?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And Lou?
Yes.
And we've already
And
taken
we've
care
already
of them.
taken care of the Mary Branch, so we've given our consent to that. Is there anything else from the board?
Yes, sir.
If not, we're going to call this meeting adjourned. Motion, I guess I need anymore, we're going to have a motion. Is there a motion made to,
See you at the end of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Lou's got me, y'all got a second, all right?
Oh,
Ms.
okay.
Pride, that's all right?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Patty?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yeah.
And Lou?
Yes.
All right, so moved.
Some of you didn't make it.
Somebody should say no.
Somebody should have said no.
That's a-